Welcome in, everybody. It is Thursday night, and I've assembled the Avengers. Well, at least the Avengers of our NFL, as it's the off season, and we're ready to party. It is going to be a lot of fun tonight. We're going to talk some what ifs, some what haves. We're going to talk about a genius, apparently, from what I'm seeing right there, as he's got things going. I got two Jets fans, one Charger fan, and a Denver fan who's so happy he's got a new coach. He's lost in the myth. It's going to be a fun night. Welcome in, everybody, to Inside the Huddle. It's the all-season show. Let's go around the dais. Gene, how you doing? Up in the top corner box today. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in.
Thank you for having me, Pete. I'm here to talk some off-season Jets and some other stuff. There's a lot going on this week, so I'm ready to talk about it.
Well, I am looking forward to it. It's going to be good as well. I'll go to your Jet counterpart, Pete Carney in the house, everybody. ABC's down there. And the best jacket in all of us right now. He looks sharper than all. How you doing, buddy?
The jacket is beautiful, and I'm proud to rock it because I can say with confidence the Jets are undefeated so far. So we're very excited. It's a great start to the season.
There you go. Paul Engel, hello. Francisco Monteramali. T. Marie's place. She's going to be on here in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to get Tina on here. I got to sit down with her and get her back in the mix up here. Ryan Rowe. Hello, Lila Rose. Good to see you. All the friends in here. Bryson, you're not on a boat for once. We've got you on land, talking Broncos and more. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Glad to be back, and it's a whole new outlook right now.
Yeah, it's a good outlook in Denver. Crystal texted me and said I have to call you Captain Bryson because you're just on boats left and right.
Yeah. We I don't know. We just we love going on those ships. What do I know?
That's a great thing. I saw a great picture today on Taylor's social of your wife and her together. I think recently down there in Epcot. So it was great to see you guys had a good time. Sunudo, welcome in, buddy. Great to see you. I know you've been really busy. This is your busy season, but I'm glad we got a couple minutes of your time.
I apologize for not being here last week, so I could have gone into a long soliloquy about how I called the Super Bowl exactly how it went. Go back and watch that stream that Pete did.
Oh, you have the script.
The Super Bowl. That's true.
He did have the script.
So you're related to the referees. Good to know.
I will give him his props. He did call it 100%. I love recognizing our people when we call it right. That's an important thing. So before I jump into everything here, into the team and the breaking news and all that, actually, let me do this first. Let me go back here first. Let me just acknowledge the team. You can find all of the members of our broadcasting dais right here on the front of my YouTube channel, everybody. Click over there. It's on the front of the NFL show. Click on the button. Follow them. Give them some love and stay in touch with them when they're not here with us. Would love to do that. Guys, before we go into all the details today, I wanted to talk about an article that dropped. Gene has a little bit of insight in this, and so does Sunudo, because we were rat-chatting a little bit in the back before we got kicking. But this is pretty good. Bill Darty, hello. Good to see you as well in here. Bill is a huge supporter of you, Carney, and I love Bill for doing that. He is awesome. Guys, this article just dropped minutes before we were going live. CBS Sports is a trusted source, and a couple of their resources over there. And I'm going to read you this, and then I kind of want to just go around and just get your just a little bit of input on what you hear. Okay? This is the title of the article. NFL Mock Draft 2023. It's brand new. Jalen Carter falls after being issued arrest warrant. Ravens move on from Lamar Jackson. Now I'm not going to go full depth in the article, but the main things is this. It's got Indianapolis making a trade with the Chicago Bears in the number 1 spot. We'll talk about that in a second. It's also got these things happening before the draft completed. Derek Carr signs with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers signs with the Las Vegas Raiders. Lamar Jackson traded to the Atlanta Falcons. Ryan Tannehill signs with the New Orleans Saints. Jimmy Garoppolo signs with the Tennessee Titans. And a reminder that the Dolphins do not get a pick as they were stripped due to tampering. Now, here's the unique thing. I'll read you these, just these top 10 picks, and then we'll kind of go around. We'll start with Carney and go around the board. It's got the Indianapolis Colts trading up to number 1 and taking Anthony Richardson out of Florida, coming on the number 1 spot. Then it's got Bryce Young going to Houston. It's got Will Levens, the Kentucky quarterback, now going to Carolina. Will Anderson drops from Alabama. He goes to Chicago at the 4 spot after the trade. Now, here's where it gets some interesting here. It's got Cansey out of Pittsburgh going to Seattle. He is a defensive lineman. It's got the huge edge rusher out of Texas Tech, Wilson, going to Detroit, which bolsters them. It's got the Alabama number 1 safety going to Green Bay and Brian Branch. C.J. Stroud going from Ohio State into Baltimore, dropping from that number 1 that he's been projected all the way to 8 at Baltimore. Other key things in this draft, just to highlight it, in their changes here. It's got, where's it at? It's got Jalen Carter falling because of the arrest thing all the way to 17 going to the Steelers. And then 2 late picks, which I thought were scary. It's got, where's it at? Right here. Joey Porter, the incredible cornerback out of Penn State, going all the way to Cincinnati at 28, which is a huge aggressive grant there. And 29, the Saints, which is their trade from the Broncos, take in Bijan Robinson, the number 1 running back, who could be a horse in all of this. So, Carney, that's a lot to take in on an article just dropped by CBS Sports. Your thoughts?
Seriously, wow. All right, so just the ones I'm going to remember because there's so much information there. Obviously, as a Jets fan, we are in the market for a quarterback. I, of course, wanted Aaron Rodgers, even if it was only for a year or 2. It would just be nice to have someone throw our talented team the ball. We haven't had a talented quarterback in a while. And I'm not saying Wilson's not talented. I'm just saying he's not there to get us over the hump right now. And I think we have a team that could go deep in the playoffs. So as a Jets fan, if I wasn't going to get Rodgers, I'm okay with Carr. I just want to know what we're giving for Carr, because I don't know if he's worth that much. I think he's great. I don't know if it was the system over in
He's a free agent. That's a signing. That's not a trade. That's a free agent. He was released.
Oh, okay, that's right. He's a free agent. That's right. They dropped him. That was so funny. Yeah, so I'm okay with that. Honestly, if we don't think of anything up, if it wasn't getting Rodgers, I'm okay with Carr. Some of the other things noteworthy, I think the whole Tannehill thing is kind of a joke. I always thought Tannehill was overrated. I always thought it was the team around him that made him look good, or there was no team around him. That's why he played the way he played. So I don't think he's going to be a real difference maker. I think that's a bad move for the Saints. I think you said Garoppolo going to Nashville. I think that's more of the same. I really think Garoppolo is along the same lines as Tannehill. Some people, say he's amazing and everything else, but what has he done? I don't know. I just have never been a big fan. With the story out of Georgia, with that whole arrest, this reminds me very much of the whole, remember the Tunsil a few years back in the draft where he was going to go real high, and all of a sudden someone leaked that photo of him, with the mask on, and he dropped. Now he's been very productive in the NFL, so I wonder if teams are going to remember that, and maybe he'll slide a little closer to the top as time goes on. Also, time heals wounds. We still have a little bit of time before the draft, and with all these big name quarterbacks and moves being made, hopefully he'll get a little less attention. At the time, Tunsil was a huge story, and I think that's why he slid so far.
He dropped off.
I think that he might creep back up to where he might have been. I don't think he'll creep all the way back up too high, but those are just the ones that jumped off the page to me. I think the Colts have really just been a team in need of a quarterback for so long. I've actually felt bad for the Colts, even though they're in the AFC. I just feel like there was so much talent on that squad, and they've just had the last, few quarterbacks just haven't been doing the trick ever since, I don't know, for the last 5 years now. So I wish them luck. I like to see good competition, and I as a Jets fan, I feel bad for other clubs, and I feel that they had so much talent. So hopefully they can find an answer in Lamar, and I thought that he was going there the entire time anyway. So not a surprise for me, but maybe no benefit. Yeah, I think those are the top highlights I remember out of the giant.
There's a lot of news. Let's go over to Bryson and see what he's got. His thoughts on some of that projections by CBS now with things going on.
The Colts thing doesn't shock me. I've kind of thought they were going to trade to that number 1 spot. I take that back. The Anthony Richardson thing does, for some reason in the last 2 weeks, he shot up everyone's board. I guess seeing him at number 1 is the shock to me and all that. He's an amazing talent. Don't get me wrong. He has an awesome arm. He can move. I guess everybody's trying to find the next Patrick Mahomes, the next Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So sure, he has the intangibles of those guys. So you let some things and mistakes he did at Florida kind of go, and you go with him. You know,
He was
whatever.
ranked fourth out of the quarterbacks. So he went from fourth position ranked as
That's a huge jump.
scouting to
Like,
what
what did he do between then and now? Like, nothing more has been done.
Yeah.
No more tape that's came out. The combine started today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, combine. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on too. Great points.
that's what makes me laugh about this time of year is when there hasn't been one more snap played or any more tape developed, but all of a sudden here comes this guy that all of a sudden is a magical player. And
Yep.
that's fine if you want to put smoke screens out there, whatever it is, but he's this year's darling. That's what. But what I do like out of that is the Bijan Robinson pick that they are using the Broncos pick on in New Orleans, because I can see them moving on from Kamara with everything going on there, and that would be awesome for them.
That's a great call. He's going to be a top back, I believe. So, no, your thoughts
He's
on what's going on there?
Some of the things about Lamar Jackson ending up in Atlanta just doesn't make much sense to me. You got a quarterback who's looking for a lot of money to go to a rebuilding team. That just doesn't sit well. I think Lamar ends up either in Las Vegas, where I think they're a good quarterback away from a playoff team, or maybe even in Washington because they make stupid stuff happen in Washington. But between those two, I think that's where they end up, where Lamar ends up. Jalen, it's a very touchy situation, and we don't want to make light of those who have passed away involving that situation. What really bothers me is how he left before the police got there. Then he came back and he told them he wasn't involved. And I think the brass in the NFL is looking at this and saying, how can this guy be a top 5 draft pick, a leader for our team, and he's acting this way? We all make mistakes when we're young, but I felt like he hasn't lived up to those mistakes, and the NFL is going to look at that. And no matter how good you are on the field, if your off the field antics are too much, you're not going to be in this league very long. That's just how it works.
Well, Pittsburgh might be a good landing spot. He's going to have to go somewhere where it's a strong locker room, I think, in there. So, Gene, your thoughts on the initial drop by CBS Sports a few minutes ago?
Yeah, so a bunch of stuff. Indy getting the number 1 pick. I think I don't get the whole love affair with Anthony Richardson after the season. I think it should be either Stroud or Young. Those are the 2 guys I like better than Robinson. I'm sorry, than Richardson. Levis, I don't trust. Ever since Tim Couch, I can't trust a Kentucky quarterback. I would not touch Levis. Carter the Jets, sign me up. I think he wants like between 30 to 35, which no picks, 30 to 35. Plug him in for the next 4 years instead of getting Rodgers, having to trade picks, pay him like $50 million a year, and then each year let you twist in the wind who's going to be our guy next year.
Right.
So I say let the Raiders have A-Rod. I'll take Carr. Lamar, I think, listen, he's got to go to a rebuilding team because who else is going to be able to afford him? If it's a team that's really the one quarterback away, chances are their money is going to be elsewhere, and they're not going to be able to afford him because, as we talked about earlier, he wants all of that money up front. Tannehill to the Saints, I think the ultimate system quarterback in the correct system, he could be fantastic, but that's about as good as he's going to get. I'm surprised to hear that that they're interested in Garoppolo, the Titans, because they just drafted Willis. So
They're not happy with Willis. They're not happy.
I hear you, but he's still so young. It's only he's got one. He didn't play a full season.
I know.
I'm them, I go after Jacoby Brissett, who's the ultimate pass the torch quarterback. He's been great everywhere he's gone. He's been a good team guy, good with the young players. I would go after Jacoby Brissett. He's going to cost you less than Garoppolo. Let Garoppolo go somewhere and be a starter for the next 5-6 years if he can stay healthy. Kamara is done. I don't know if anybody saw the video of him in the car saying how he punched about all the alleged stuff. It was disgusting. If Ray Rice isn't in this league, Kamara can't be in this league. I'm sorry. And as far as Jalen Carter dropping, you know what? Dalvin Cook also was another guy that dropped. And as well as we just spoke about Laramie Tunsil. Both those guys dropped. It was closer to the draft, though. I think the fact that this came out when it did might help his not drop quite as far because he's got enough time to go in and make amends and have good interviews. Is he a bad guy or is he a scared kid? We'll find out. That's we talked about it earlier. We'll find out. Is Jalen Carter just a scared? Was he a scared kid that day that didn't know what to do and what to say, or is he just someone that was trying to get out of trouble? We'll find out. And yeah, I guess that's. I think I wrapped up all my thoughts on that huge article. But there we go.
All right.
Also, the thing I forgot, the Lions defense, if they get that guy, they're going to be insane. Like, the Lions are on the up, like, hardcore.
Oh, definitely. Can you imagine with some defense? They're the opposite of the Jets. The Jets have no offense, Lions have no defense. Can you imagine if they would just combine those teams? That's a Super Bowl champion right there.
Oh.
Well, and one other thing I think with the fact that they've got the quarterback there from Ohio State, Stroud, fallen to the Ravens at 8 if that trade were to happen. They got the Ravens taking one of the second-ranked corner in the draft. I would love to see the Ravens say the heck with that, go take that running back from Texas, take Stroud and him together and build around them. Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it if that happens. So we'll see. But that's more to come on all that. That just happened before the show, and we didn't want to walk away from it. Let's talk about breaking news, because the funny thing is, one of the things that was breaking news kind of falls into what that article says. So let's jump over here, guys, for a second and talk about this. I need to move the text over, so let me do this because I know it's right in the middle of my screen right now. Let me move our chat with all of our friends over to here. That way we're good to go. And just takes a second to balance that out. This is the first thing. Falcons release Marcus Mariota. Interesting to see that they're talking about the Ravens making a trade with Atlanta for a quarterback, and they've already just done with Mariota. They weren't even going to take a chance. They're already sold in on either the quarterback they have out of Cincinnati from last year or this. So interesting thoughts here. Any thoughts on Mariota? We'll start with, let's see, we'll go with Sanudo on this one to start it.
It was inevitable. They benched him. I think maybe he had 1 or 2 games towards the end of the year where he was benched. He wasn't even. I don't think he was active in 1 or 2 games. So with that being said, he was. I think he was a top 5 pick at one point. It's time for him to go. Sorry, it's just
okay. Gene.
Yeah, number 2 overall pick, I believe. I was Winston. I think got picked ahead of him in that draft. But
he did.
I'm not surprised at this. He also might be a good fit for the Titans. If you want someone to help develop Malik Willis, he might be another good fit for the Titans. He's that guy where he's not going to go someplace for a long term. He's not a guy that's you got to plug in for the next 8 years. You plug him in for 2 years, get your young guys up. He might be a good spot for him as well.
Or he could be a long-term backup for somebody, Bryson. What do you think?
That's my thought. And I mean, I was a huge Mariota fan when he came out, so I'm kind of disappointed that it hasn't worked out for him. But I can totally see him finding the right system and just being a backup quarterback for, 10 years. I mean, Chase Daniels has made more money than all of us combined, and he's played like 5 games.
Yeah,
so.
hardly at all. He's kept his head about him. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually thought the funniest thing I saw when I saw that he was released says, "This just in, Marcus Mariota, future MVP for the XFL this season," which I thought was hysterical. I do think he'll end up being either a backup or one of those in-betweener quarterbacks, like everyone else was just saying. Sadly, I think everyone else is either going to be drafting young and rebuilding, or there's a lot of these superstars, or at least very decent quarterbacks in free agency this year, where there's a lot that can get scooped up. So
yeah,
I don't know where he's going to go. I mean, and the funniest thing I saw, I mean, imagine if he was in the XFL, he would just run the whole league. But
he would
that's
run.
the difference between the XFL and the NFL, right? And the money. But they might want to throw in some money. That's how they can pull some people over.
D-Man's got him going to Kansas City as a backup. Rorito wants him to go to the Rams. Koala Bear, welcome in. Pete, since you're there, why don't you run it backwards and let's talk about this one. Commanders release Carson Wentz. Is he still even in the league? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's in backup town now. I mean, he's going to be in the league but he has not been able to prove himself as a starter. I think it showed that when he was on the Eagles, he had a great system around him. Then when he was in Indianapolis, he kind of blew it. He was the reason the Colts didn't make it into the playoffs. They didn't win. He was terrible in Washington. Yeah, he's going to be just a glorified backup. Or now I'm just going to start using the whole XFL thing, because if I'm these quarterbacks and I want the limelight, the money, and a little praise, he would be the biggest star in another league if they paid him enough. And I think the league might pay him. Or he could just go be a backup in the NFL for the next 10 years. So we'll see. I did an interesting article I read today. The NFLPA, the Players Association, named the Washington Commanders the worst team to play for, and that was a rating of how they treat the family, the players' families, the locker room, the training, the system, the support, how players. This is all about how players are treated, and Washington was dead last in those rankings. So I'm sure he's not too upset about being released from the worst team in the NFL.
Well, with that being said, I'll throw it over to Sanudo. Which, I mean, you live the closest out of all of us to Washington's combines. Do you think all that challenges in Washington is based on the owner who has his issues?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, he just barred Bezos from trying to buy the team, and all the other owners are upset by him. You know, whatever's going on with that owner, it's not good for the NFL, and they need to get him out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, interesting. Bryson, you want Carson Wentz as your backup out there in Denver?
No, Gene gave away Jacoby Brissett. That's who I want over here. No, Carson Wentz. Who was it? Somebody, they had a stat yesterday I saw. So he got hit when Foles had to come in when he was with the Eagles and they won the Super Bowl. And in the games before that, he was like lights out. And ever since he took that hit, he's been what he is now. And I think it's sad, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how long he could last as a backup.
Interesting. Gene?
It's just that there's so much tape out there.
There is a lot of tape out there. You're right. Gene, you want to close this one out?
Yeah, I don't even think he's a bridge quarterback. He was supposed to be a bridge quarterback in Washington and didn't even last the season. I think he's a backup. I think wherever he goes, he's going to have to be knowing going in, I'm not going to play unless the guy ahead of me gets hurt. Again, he was a bridge guy in Washington, and he couldn't even do that. So he's a backup at best.
He could end up as a U.S.
He could.
Here's the thing, though. If you have a veteran as your backup, what does that veteran bring? Brings leadership, right? What is Carson Wentz known for? Not being a good leader. I don't think he ends up as a backup in the NFL.
That's a great point, because if you think about it, he wasn't even on top of the mountain for that long. It was his second or third year that it all kind of fell apart for him. He didn't have that time to really build that leadership. So that's a great point.
Love it. Welcome in, Evan. Welcome in, Anthony Manzano, as well. All right, let's go on to our first quick topic here. Not really a lot to go into, but I just wanted to throw it by the guys so we can kind of know where we're at. Thursday, March 2nd, that would be today. The Combine has started, everybody. It's on the NFL Network. You got that. You can watch over there. I might actually tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I might go live and just watch the defensive backs Combine. And then Saturday at 1 o'clock, I might go live then too, because you got quarterback, wide receivers, and tight ends. Why not? I got nothing else going on. If any of the broadcasters from our dais, any of the gentlemen here, Joey D, Tina, anybody want to come on, you're all welcome. And then Sunday, you got the running backs and the offensive linemen, and the Combine is done. One other thing I wanted to highlight, I did want to get your guys' opinion on this. We'll kind of start with Bryson on this one. Here's an interesting topic, the Hall of Fame game. Weird combination. Now, I know the Jets fans are happy here. I'm surprised at the Browns being selected for this Hall of Fame game, other than the fact that maybe they're thinking, hey, they're close to Cleveland. They'll pull some people in to come watch the game. I don't know. Bryson, what do you think of this matchup for Thursday, August 3rd, the Hall of Fame game?
So I thought it was super weird until I saw that it's Revis, and I can't remember who the Brown is that's going into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
And then once I saw that, it kind of clicked in my head. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like, now I understand why they're doing it. I can't remember who it is, but I did think it was.
It's their it's the big lineman is who it is, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas.
Yep. So that once they said it's Revis versus Thomas, I was like, okay, now I get why that's going on. So that makes more sense to me now.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I'm excited at the fact that we're already got the Hall of Fame game planned. Gene, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't want any part of it. That's one extra playoff a preseason game that we got to play where somebody could get hurt. I want no part of it. But I do get why they did it. Jets obviously have a couple of guys going in, big names. Browns have a big name going in. I always thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm just misremembering. I always thought it was an AFC team and an NFC team, though. I always thought it was one team from each conference that always made up the Hall of Fame game. So I could be wrong. Maybe that wasn't what it was. It just seemed like it was for a little bit. But yeah, I'll be honest. I want as little a preseason game as we have to play. I'd rather not play the extra preseason game.
Pete, what do you? You want that extra preseason game, or are you on board with Yoda up there with the beard?
Yeah, I'm also afraid of injury. However, to me, this looks like I'm hoping it's gonna be more like a scrimmage or a practice game. I think the way Sal is real smart. I think he's gonna be using this as almost like a scrimmage than anything else. Get some of the guys out there, see what they can do against another team as opposed to training camp. But I mean, very smart by the NFL. Besides the two big players being inducted, these are two of the most loyal fan bases of all time. I mean, the Jets won their last Super Bowl in '69. The Browns won their last Super Bowl in '64. And yet both of these fan bases stand right by their teams. They've been trash for my entire life since I've been on the planet Earth. And here I am wearing all the Jets gear. So good for them because they know they have two loyal fan bases that'll watch any trash team play another trash team.
Nice. Good points there.
Pretty true.
Studio, you want to close out their thoughts on the Hall of Fame game? We have a date.
Every year I trick myself and I say, all right, the Hall of Fame game's on. I haven't watched football for 2 months. And then I watch the first quarter and realize it's preseason football and it's terrible. So it is what it is.
You don't got to worry about your starters with the Jets. Nathaniel Hackett, your offensive coordinator, he hates playing players in the preseason. So don't even worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah, I get to probably play a drive if that maybe, but still.
If that gets the extra game for most of the teams these last couple of years, they haven't played hardly anything with their starters. They've used it to get a lot of work from the kids they don't know. And, it'll be interesting to see this year because this will be the first year in a long time. Welcome in the Tomorrowland Traveler and Movie Mania Nick joining us and saying hello. Hey, hello, guys. Welcome in. This will be the first year that we've had year-round football going into the NFL season. We've got the XFL, which we're going to talk about in a little bit here, building all the way up to the draft. The draft hits for the NFL for that weekend. Immediately following the draft, USFL goes right up, and their championship is the weekend before this Thursday night game. So it's going to be interesting to see how hungry people are for football if they're getting it year-round. So I'm curious to see there myself. All right, this is the draft order, guys, for this year. Just throwing it out there as of right now where it stands. Of course, there's a lot of talk about trades and everything. Just reminding everybody before we go into the next couple topics here that you got a couple teams with multiple picks. The Lions, multiple picks. I believe the Panthers have multiple on here. Who else was it I was looking at? The Jets. Do they have multiple this year again?
Mm-mm.
No, they don't.
One.
Just one.
Seahawks.
So the Lions have multiple.
I'm
Steelers.
so afraid of the
Seahawks.
Lions. The Lions are going to be so good.
The Lions are going to be good. It's going to be interesting. So this is its potential draft order as of right now. So let's talk about this. Mock draft. This was put out, the way too early draft put out by ESPN through 247 Sports. And look at this top 10. And I just kind of want to get your
Tyler Van Dyke.
This is where it's got it right now, according to their mock draft. Now, we talked about CBS's brand new one right before we came on. Dog Catcher, hello. Disney Baker, hello. Welcome in, guys. Great to see you. Let's start with Sanudo. What's your thoughts? Just look at it. Does this make sense to you? Is there anything that's a little weird? What are you thinking?
You know what? Here's the thing: is we got these two QBs at 1 and 2, and I think that's kind of how it's going to go. You may flip flop 1 and 2, but we got to figure out how free agency is going to work because a lot of these teams actually need quarterbacks. Are they going to get it in free agency? Are they not? How are you going to get this? And I don't know. I guess they must have done something with a trade, and I guess the Bears moved out or something. But the problem is free agency isn't done yet, and that's gonna dictate a lot of what happens, especially at the top of the draft.
Okay, I like that.
I think this is last year's draft order.
Well,
No, I think this is based. Could this be based on trades?
This is based on trades and everything there playing out. Bryson, why don't you go next? The funny thing is the Florida quarterback doesn't even show on there.
That's what cracks me up, though, is that they have Tyler Van Dyke up there as the quarterback. Obviously Anthony Richardson should be right up there at the top. I don't know why he's not there. Nothing. I like the Will Anderson. I think Will Anderson hasn't been ranked high enough in a lot of these. He's a heck of a player. I really like him.
He is a heck of a player. Top wide receiver on there is going to the Giants. That's got to get the Jets fans fired up, Carney.
Yeah, good for the Giants. I'm actually more excited. Again, so this is such a joke to me. I totally agree with what everyone else is saying, is that we have it's going to be a ridiculous free agency. We have a lot of time before this happens. Who knows what other incidents are going to happen, and some rumor, and someone's going to shoot up. Someone's going to have a great combine. This is going to change so dramatically. But I, as a Jets fan, would love to have Will Anderson right there. That'd be great. But yeah, good for the Giants getting a wideout. I mean, they need wideouts. And we could use an edge rusher. So I'm okay with this. This could be the draft. I'm okay with that.
It's not a bad mix, except for that Tyler Van Dyke just throws me for a loop.
No, that's great. Forget the Panthers. Who cares?
Anthony says Tyler Van Dyke went back to Miami, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Is I'm pretty sure he's not even in the draft.
Well, again,
once he found out he was going to go to the Panthers, he's like, I'd much rather stay around.
I would rather go back to Mario Cristobal.
There you go.
I'm going to head back to the dorm.
Gene, you want to close this thing out?
Yeah, if this was done maybe before the season ended, or I don't know how, it says it's way too early, so maybe
It was done a week and a half ago.
Week and a half ago. Well, then Blake Brockermeyer, all due respect, Blake Brockermeyer, respectfully, you're an idiot, because there's no way the Lions should draft a quarterback. Goff played well enough to now let's focus on our defense. The offense was fine. You need a defense. Will Anderson, as much as I think he's going to be a great pro, I'd rather see the Jets maybe trade back a little or stay where they are. And if they can get Branch, I don't like the one weakness we have on defense is our safeties. I'd like to see us cut Whitehead, let LaMarcus Joyner go, maybe sign a vet like Poyer or Bates, and then draft Branch, who's can play corner. He played corner in college, and he can play safety. I'd love to see them plug him in at safety. That would be the best secondary in all of football. But also, yeah, like if Tyler Van Dyke, I mean, like Anthony Richardson's not even on here. Will Levis isn't even on here. I'm
glad that somebody finally said it. I'm just disappointed it took to the fifth person or the fourth person on our dais to say it. To me, this is one of the worst layouts I've ever seen. That's why I brought it up on the screen. The fact that Detroit would be taking a quarterback right now, no, I don't see that happen. The fact that you don't have another quarterback, the kid from Florida, even on this list. The other fact is that you're not even looking here at the fact that there's no way that wide receiver should go as high as 6. The Giants could trade down and get him somewhere in mid 15 or 14 and get some more picks. I don't think a wide receiver goes in the top 10 this year. I think it's going to be linemen and quarterbacks all the way through, or edge rushers. So it's going to be on your line or edge rushers. But I thought that was really ridiculous, and I just wanted to see if I could throw one past you. And Gene, finally, you guys were all on the mark, but Gene finally caught it. All right, so this next segment of the show, as we finish out tonight, we're going to go through and look since like 2014, 2015. Who were the highest graded in the position? And kind of where are they now? What surprises you on this list? I'll start up with Gene on this one and go backwards. You can see the year that they had them highest ranked, the college they were in. You can see it's some of these guys are still playing. Some of these guys aren't even heard of anymore. And maybe something that surprised you. This is tight ends. Gene, you want to take a look at this list? Just tell me what jumps out at you.
Yeah, obviously my team doesn't need a tight end, but I like Michael Mayer a lot. I think he's going to be fantastic as a pro. I think he's going to be a future All-Pro at tight end.
Is he
I love it.
Is he a first-round pick or no?
I mean, he's the best tight end in the draft. I don't know if I kind of got to go look through it to see who needs a tight end that they'd pick him. Is he going to get picked as high as Kyle Pitts? No, because Kyle Pitts did a little bit more flashy stuff, although I think he'll be better than Kyle Pitts. I think the best out of this list right now, though, is T.J. Hockenson. I still can't believe he got traded. Why Detroit would trade him when they're putting together the team they're putting together? Why take a piece off offense? He's a fantastic player. Unless it was this, they didn't think they could re-sign him when that came. But I think Hockenson is fantastic. And he's the best guy on this list. But I think Mayer, going forward after once he's in the league, will be the best guy on this list. I think Mayer's fantastic.
Okay, he'll play like crazy on Halloween with a name like Michael Mayer. Bryson, your thoughts on the tight end list?
So This is just kind of a personal thing, but I know Caleb Wilson. Like, he's a family friend. And it's
Oh, wow.
hilarious to me that I never knew he was the highest rated tight end in that year. So I'm going to have to text and let him know that I learned that about him today. He's no longer in the league. He's coaching now. But I agree with what Gene said. I think Mayer is really good. And Trey McBride at Colorado State was a good player. I mean, he was a good college player. I think he'll be good in Arizona. But I don't know who needs a tight end that desperately that they would take him in the first round.
Yeah, I think he's a second.
It's a deep draft.
It is a deep draft. I think he's mid-second round at the top point, in my opinion. Carney, what do you think?
Yeah.
Where's Fumagalli? I can't find him anywhere anymore.
I know, but I was going to say, I think that's the exception. If you look at this list, I think it just shows that tight ends kind of do hold their value. Like, we've had a big bust in running backs. You'll have big busts in other positions where most of this list, they will have or still are making an impact on their team. I think Trey McBride is only just scratching the surface. I think he's starting to come alive in Arizona. Kyle Pitts was doing his job. Hawkinson, again, I think is the best one on this list, but it just shows he's been in the league now a few years. He's coming into his own, getting better and better. Hunter Henry was doing his job. I mean, again, not like winning Super Bowls, but like he's out there. He's a good tight end. I mean, if you look in terms of fantasy, we're drafting a lot of these people on our fantasy teams.
Yeah.
So I think it just shows that the tight end position is a safe play. I think that it hurts Michael Mayer this year, but I think if he does go in that second round, which I believe he will go in the second round, whatever team is going to get him, that's going to be a steal for this year because I think he's full of talent and he's going to hold his own for a while. As you can see with this list, tight ends don't really just like disappear or just burn out or a lot of these guys, we know their names still. Wait until we see some other positions where they were like, what happened to them?
Yeah, well, we're going to have that in a minute here. Suniro, who do you think needs a tight end the most besides Tina?
Well, all I can say is looking at this list as a Chargers fan, it makes me cry because I remember when we drafted Hunter Henry and I said that was the last piece we needed. And every year since then, when he was a Charger, I kept saying, this is Hunter Henry's year. And it's never been Hunter Henry's year.
Right.
It makes me cry.
Yeah, it's a tough one there. All right, let's jump over to the next position we want to look at. This is the highest graded wide receivers since 2014. Interesting at the list all the way around for who they have. You'll see two of the guys are possibly going this year, 21-22, from Ohio State. Might be interesting. You got some guys that are already in the league. We'll start this one out with Bryson. Taking a look at this, anything jump out at you?
No, not really. I mean, Tyler Johnson at Minnesota, that kind of does. I wouldn't expect that from a PJ Fleck offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. is just a freak. I love watching him play. It's a jewel just to watch him play every Saturday.
Is he eligible to be drafted this year?
No, next year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's the thing. He's only a sophomore, and he's playing like much older than he already is.
Yeah.
He's that good.
He'll be a number one pick next year for first round.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Pick.
I think he'll be better than his dad.
That's scary. That's scary. Gene, what do you think on this one looking at it?
Yeah, you know what? For all the success that they have had, I'm surprised there's no LSU receivers on this list. That's the one thing that stands out to me. No LSU guys. And the other thing that stands out for me is I see Amari Cooper all the way at the bottom, 2014. He's been in the league that long. It just it feels like
that's crazy, right?
I'm just thinking about it. It's almost 10 years he's been in the league. I'm like, wow, it's really. I'm thinking like 5 or 6 years if you would ask me to just guess off the top of my head. But yeah, I agree. Marvin Harrison Jr. is. He even look at him right. He looks like his dad. He looks like his dad, right? Number 18, and
Yeah.
But
great lineage.
yeah, man, it's gonna. Listen. There's some busts on this list, but I'm surprised there's no LSU guys. I always felt like there'd be an LSU guy. There's many pros that they put out there,
Yeah. Justin Ross, Aitman, and Carr. I don't even think those guys are in the league anymore, are they? I don't even think they are. That I can remember. I don't know. I don't remember them with fantasy at all. Those names being used. I don't know where those guys are at. What's your thoughts, Justin, on this wide receiver list?
But you take this list and you translate it to the NFL, and there isn't that much success in this list, right?
That's true.
Amari Cooper, maybe. That's what bothers me is you look at some of these, these guys who do well in college or maybe do great in the combine. And you try to translate that to the NFL, and it isn't an exact science. It's just as much art as anything. And these guys, we're our top wide receivers in the NFL. They're not on this list, so it's just an interesting observation.
Yeah, that's true. Carney, you want to close this one out?
Yeah, I'm just to go back to my point on the last one. This is exactly what I was talking about. Where those tight ends, we recognized a bunch of their names. A few of them are still playing, or they made an impact when they did play. Wide receivers to me are just like everybody was saying, so hit or miss. However, I will agree with the whole panel here. Where in that respect, and that I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be one of the all-time greats, pending like any major injuries or like that. He just looks so good. But again, everyone else here, it's so crazy. These are the highest graded wide receivers, and yet we're still like, are they in the league? Do they do well? Do they even do anything? Like, especially when you think of like players in fantasy, because those are players we talk about so often.
Right.
And a lot of these were like, what happened to these guys? And they were the number one or the highest graded. It's so wild to see that. And that's what I was trying to say about the tight ends, is that I think those translate and last a little bit longer, where you have other positions like wide receivers that, you could be the highest grade, the best wide receiver coming out of all the colleges in the country, and it doesn't translate in the NFL.
That's interesting. Well, let's take a look here. We'll start with Sanudo on this one. Here was your running backs. Now, some names sticking here. Connor's still in the NFL. Fournette. Kareem Hunt was still around. Ronald Jones. Taylor. Zach Moss. Javonte Williams has been a monster in Denver. You got Damian Pierce on the list. And you got Blake Corum. So just looking at that list, anything jump out at you there?
Well, two things. One is I just feel like Zach Moss would have been so much better in the NFL, and he just hasn't reached what I thought he would be in the NFL. Maybe there's still time. Running backs do take some time. And, of course, we got Jonathan Taylor, who's probably the best running back in football, or at least close to it. I guess kind of like, timely news. Didn't Leonard Fournette just get a cut?
Yes.
I think he did.
I think they're talking about
did or going to be.
Going to be, yeah. Going. But he's had a hell of a longevity in the league.
He has, and he isn't a catcher either. So he was pretty much give him the ball and run downhill kind of running back, and he's done pretty well. And James Conner, I can't believe he's been in the league this long. You talk about people been in the league for a while. I know he's down in Arizona, not doing too much, but still, he's been in the league for quite a long time.
He's still getting paycheck.
Yeah, that's true. Let's go over to Carney. What's your thoughts there?
I agree that running backs take a little bit more time. You could see that with where they came out, and then a lot of these running backs kind of popped years 2, 3, or 4. I think another big part of how you are successful in the NFL is system. And with running backs, it is so important what team you're joining, who's on that team in that year, and who is your offensive coordinator and head coach. Because, look at Fournette. Yeah, we're like, wow, he's still doing great because he had Tom Brady next to him. Like, people are looking all over the field, and he's slinging it. And then when Fournette is like, this is the greatest thing ever, this all depends on O-lines too. I feel like running backs are so tricky to grade because it's so heavily dependent on system, who your O-line is, who your QB is. And again, it takes a few years to see if they're going to come into their own. Because, honestly, that's what first thing I thought when I looked at this list, everybody got good 2-3 years after they came out, or after this list was made, whatever. So, it's interesting. But, it's so hard with running backs. And there's so many factors in a running back.
Amazing, though, that we saw more names that we recognized on the highest ranking than we did out of wide receivers. I would have thought it would have been the other way around with the more limited time with backs. Bryson, your thoughts? Is Williams going to be on Denver this year? Are they talking about him being a free agent? What is the deal there?
Oh, no. He's as long as he comes back, it depends when he comes back from the knee injury, but he's their go-to running back for sure. They said it yesterday at the combine. But I was going to say what you said. When you first pulled this up and I saw running back, I expected to see guys that were one and done on this thing or free agent draft picks. And instead I'm seeing bona fide good running backs that are still, like I said earlier, collecting a paycheck and doing meaningful things in the NFL, which is crazy since running backs, I guess the 2-back system that the NFL has adopted has probably saved a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
They're not, besides Jonathan Taylor, a lot of them aren't just getting pounded into the ground every single play almost, So it's probably helped the longevity of a lot of these guys.
Good point. Gene, how about Kareem Hunt? coming out of a small school like Toledo, showing you can make a difference in the NFL. He's had a good career. What's your thoughts on this list?
He has, and I think he's a free agent too, if I'm right. Is that the talk that he's?
He
I think they're saying. I know up here they were saying that he's the Giants' backup plan if they don't get Saquon back. Yeah, and Blake Corum, fantastic back. I was surprised. I thought for sure, if you asked me to guess, I thought it would be the back from Texas. I thought it would be Bijan Robinson for sure. But you know what? Damian Pierce was good from snap one. He was a stud in Houston until he got hurt. Javonte Williams stud from snap one until he got hurt. I believe it was Sanudo. Was it you talking about Zach Moss? Zach Moss is another guy. I expected more coming out of college from. I don't know if it's the system he's in or what. I'm really excited about Zach Moss and he never really did anything that he hasn't been what I thought he would be. But yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor might be the best guy on this list.
I think so. Zach Moss didn't have a lot of explosion in the NFL, which was interesting. All right, let's look at the top position everybody looks at here, which is the QB position. Some interesting names on here for the top performers. You got C.J. Stroud now, number one back in 2021 coming out this one. But you got some Heisman winners on here. You got some interesting names. Some guys that are moving around. Let's go to Gene. How about start up the chat on this one? Your thoughts here?
Jordan Travis is another guy. I'm just surprised to see up there. I figured we'd see a Bryce Young or a Stroud up there still. Burrow, obviously, who's surprised at that? That was one of the greatest all-time quarterback years ever, right? Is the Joe Burrow year. I'm blanking on his name. Just the quarterback that passed away earlier in Pittsburgh from Ohio State.
Hopkins.
Dwayne Hopkins.
Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
I'm surprised. I don't know what year he would have been on here. I'm trying to think offhand, but I'm surprised he wasn't on this list because the year he had coming into the draft was an all-time year as well. So. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's some good names. Baker Mayfield, as much as we could say he has a lot of warts on his game in the pros, was a fantastic college quarterback. But yeah, I was surprised that Jordan Travis was the guy for this year.
Baker Mayfield may be on that list with Tim Tebow. There's just all-time college quarterbacks that were just out there. So let's go down to Pete. Go next on this list here.
Yeah, you just took words out of my mouth. I was going to say that the whole Tebow thing is that with this grading system, it's really, I think, with QBs how it can translate to the NFL because it shows with Baker Mayfield and some of these other quarterbacks where like it just doesn't work. I also thought I kind of knew I predicted many years ago, but we weren't on the show yet. But I liked Burrow a lot. But guys like Mac Jones, I actually thought he'd be more of a flop. Now, granted, he hasn't had the best season or the worst season. He's still figuring it out. But I actually thought he'd be more of a flop. It's really. I don't know, and I wish I did. I wish I could get in, go hang out with scouts just to see what they see and see how do you find those Bradys and that's that are deep, or how do you rank these guys to say they're going to be an NFL All-Star forever? The Peyton, where do you find those goats? Where do you find the Aaron Rodgers? Because you can see even Mariota, so much potential. Everyone, and he's so likable. Everyone liked Mariota. And he performed so well. He was well-spoken. He was mature. It seemed like he was smart. He was ready to learn. And he just never really got anything going. And I mean, granted, he did okay. But, again, never made it deep into the playoffs. Never took a team to the next level. And a few of these guys. Goff, I mean, completely, in my opinion, was a flop in the Rams. It's nice now that he's on the Lions having a little bit more success. But I don't know how they grade these players. Because you do have, the Mayfields and the Tebows, where you see them in college and they're these all-stars, but you kind of know they're not going to be the best in the NFL. They're very much part of this certain system which does not exist in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. These things to me are all coin flips.
Well, it's interesting to see all the names on there, Bryce. At least again, it's guys that you recognize, and some that have held their own.
Yeah, the one that sticks out to me is Dave's boy Kenny Pickett. I just wanted to make sure I threw that out there for him. Make sure he knows Kenny's up there. Don't you worry. Him and his little hands are going to take care of your Steelers.
There you go. Little hands all over.
You know what? He has an office in Pittsburgh just like Russell Wilson had in Denver. And we saw how that worked out for Russell. So congrats again, Dave. You're doing well.
There you go. And closing out the thoughts on the quarterbacks, Mr. Sanudo.
You think about it, sometimes you get these guys that are drafted high if they're maybe a left tackle or maybe they're a pass rusher. If they don't make it, they're gone pretty quick in the NFL. Maybe sometimes you move them inside or something like that. But with quarterbacks, I think it's an ego thing with these coaches. They draft these quarterbacks and they say, hey, he may have been a flop somewhere, but I'm going to make him somebody. And they stay around in this league for a lot longer because they were drafted high. And I think a lot of it has to do, again, with the coaching staffs thinking they can make something of somebody because they were drafted high.
That's a great point. I love it. Before I go to my last topic, I want to remind everybody we'll be doing the draft live here on the channel. The first 2 days of the draft in April, we will be here. I'm hoping that many of the friends for the dais will be here talking the draft live with me. We've had a lot of fun the last couple of years doing that. And also our Discord is doing very well over there with people talking football, sports, and more. And that's a lot of fun, so make sure you check it out. Last thing I want to talk about before we talk about everything is just get everybody's thoughts on the XFL so far. This is the schedule this weekend. You got one game on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. I actually preferred it when they had it 1 Thursday, 1 Saturday, and 2 Sunday. I don't think they're going back to that right now, unfortunately, but still that. So let's start with Sanudo. And I proudly wear the DC Defender shirt that you sent me. People were commenting on that the other day that I actually had paraphernalia from the XFL. What's your thoughts on the league so far? We're going to week 3.
I'm really looking forward to the St. Louis Washington game. I think they're both undefeated, so that should be fun. There's been a lot of talk. Hey, the stadiums aren't full. That kind of stuff. And let's be honest with you. At this point, it isn't about who's coming to coming live to this game. It's all about the TV. If TV is able, if you get enough ratings, TV is going to be around. That's what's going to keep this league alive. Is just having the ratings. Now everybody wants live sports on TV because live is something that can't be really copied and watched later. So that's why again the XFL is going to stay around if TV stays around. It doesn't matter. Come to the stadiums to watch them.
Interesting. Great points there. Carney, you can skip the opening of Tron and go to the Guardians or skip Guardians. Don't even ride the ride. Just ride the team because they're minutes from your home down there in Orlando.
Yeah, and I think I was talking to you about this the other day, is that they know I'm a football fan. I have gotten more targeted ads for the Guardians than ever before. Like, I can go to this game. I think at this point they're selling tickets buy one, get one free. I mean, it's wild how cheap it is to go to the game. I do want to go to a game to experience it, but I was going to make the same point. I don't think it matters how many people are in the stands. It matters your ratings on television. I think that has a lot to do with the schedule, the way we see it now, is that people want to watch football on Sundays, and there's not a lot of big Sundays filled up sports-wise coming up, especially this weekend's kind of slow. Maybe like Masters Week, you might see it go back to Thursday and Saturday where they spread them out. But there's just people are looking for something to watch. We need action. The bar's got to turn something on to keep the people in the seats, drinking their beer and eating their sandwiches. I thought it was hysterical. I sent you the thing on Instagram about how I love the coach of the Guardians, where he just calls out his players and he's like, these guys are playing awful. These are terrible players right now. They're not doing anything right. Like, I love that stuff. And it's football and it's exciting. I think it's fun. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest XFL fan. Like, I couldn't tell you every player and every head coach, but as just like an overall fan of football, I think it's fun and I wish them well because the more football, the better. And I do want to go to a game.
Well, it's a good thing. I'm going to be broadcasting 2 of them this weekend. I'm doing the Saturday night game, which will be the Dragons and the Vipers, and then I'm doing the Sunday night game, the 8 o'clock game, which is the Brahmas, who I haven't watched yet, and the Roughnecks. Now, to Sanudo's point, probably the best game of the weekend will be the Seattle DC game with both teams undefeated. Bryson, have you had a chance to check this out yet?
So, yeah, I was going to say I've watched like very little of the XFL.
Okay.
Arnie said I'm probably even less of a fan of the XFL than he is. I can name 1 coach and like 5 players. But here's the thing. What I watched is good. Like, it's a quality product for once, I feel like. What I saw, the little bit I saw. Because I remember the first iteration when Vince McMahon did it, it was like so gimmicky. That's why it failed. It was too gimmicky. I think The Rock and his partners have actually put a good product on the field. I forget what game it was I was watching, but it was like they were playing in a middle school football field. They had like metal bleachers
in Vegas.
on the side. Yeah, that's what it was, Vegas. And
That's
you know
the,
what? I didn't care. I didn't care about that. Like,
right.
people were like mocking him on the internet, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm not at that stadium. I don't care that I have to sit on metal bleachers. Like, it's a
Right.
decent football product. Like, I'm gonna watch it for a little bit until we have to leave. And
There
that's
you
what
go.
I did.
Real quick, MA football guy, have a good night. Thank you for all your support, buddy. We appreciate you. And Crypto King super chatted us $2. Said great show. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. Well, we lost Bryce, and he got scared. He saw the Crypto King, and he said, I can't deal with any kings. I'm out of here, and I guess I'll be back in a minute. To his point, that's the only stadium I was disappointed in watching was the Vegas Stadium because the funny thing was that's the only stadium that was truly made for football in Vegas. And it was made for football and also for horse racing while they were out there. But it really looked like they were playing in a high school backyard with the way it was laid out and everything there. So that'll be interesting. Gene, your thoughts on the XFL so far as we go through?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Just to go back a couple of seconds before, we were talking about the tight ends, how most of the tight ends, they usually hold their value, unless you're a Jet drafting a tight end. Because we have Anthony Becht, one of the head coaches of the XFL,
That's right.
former first round. You know, you can go down the list: Jason Morrow, Kyle Brady, Johnny Mitchell, Anthony Becht. We seem to always draft busts at tight end. We're the only ones, it seems. But I'll tell you what, everyone's 100% right. It's all about the TV dollars. So the NFL, that's where they pay their players, is that TV money. That's what it's all about, is the TV money. But here's where I would tweak one thing. I think doing it the way they have it on Sunday, where they have a 1 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 7 o'clock is perfect. I wouldn't put one on Saturday, especially in March. I'd move that to Thursday night. Move that to Thursday night. And the reason why is Saturday, if you're an overall sports fan, you watch everything. Maybe you're a big college basketball fan. There is so many college basketball. Saturday is like the mega day for college basketball, where especially in March, where now we're getting to the nitty gritty. I know me. That's what Saturday is for college basketball. Once football season's over, Saturday is for college basketball for me. So I think they'd be better off putting that on a Thursday night, make it like a primetime game on Thursday night, the same way the NFL did, and leaving that Saturday alone, because I know if it's XFL or college basketball, I'm watching college basketball from sun up to sundown on a Saturday. That's the one thing I'd make. But I'll tell you what, I think it's smart not letting a lot of time go by from the end of the Super Bowl to the start of the season. I know some people say, oh, you should let it go like a month. But, by a month, you already might have moved on to your next sport. This year, it's like,
they were smart.
You're right. You're still into football mode. And if you're really a football fan, you're not hungry, or you're not tired of it. You still want to watch it. But it's all about the TV money. I would just move that Saturday game to a Thursday night, and that would be the change I'd make.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, Cardi, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think what would make the XFL more fun is that it got more fantasy talk. Because I think it would make fantasy more fun, too, because we don't know some of these players, or we fell in love with them years ago. Like, Josh Gordon is playing in the XFL in Seattle. Like, he was, like, all the rage. Like, A.J. McCarron, when he came out of Alabama, was like, wow, he might really make a difference in the NFL. Now he's a quarterback in the XFL. Like, I think fantasy would make it fun, because we'd fall in love with the players we knew in college, but also who are they now, and who are these other guys we never knew about that might be the difference makers. I think it would be I think it would be fun.
Is He Hate Me still in the league? Remember He Hate Me from the first XFL?
I don't know where that got.
That's what I'm talking about. They
that was
gimmicky nicknames and everything.
Person ever.
I like the fact that they've got no extra points being kicked. It's definitely a play to happen. It's either 1, 2, or a 3-point play. I like that. I like the fact that they give you it's not as bad as the USFL. The USFL had so much of the microphones and everything going on the field that it actually interrupted your broadcast. It was overwhelming. These guys are given just a little. I'm not as high on the fact that they have open mics that the guys can just drop the F-bomb whenever they feel like it. I'm not a big advocate of that. I don't think that's great.
You told the lineman to shut the F up?
Yeah. I'm not a big advocate of that. I don't think you need that in your life to make, get a point across. And I definitely don't like, if you got kids watching this that are influenced by it, everybody's going to think about the fact that it's just okay to cuss each other out on a field and stuff like that. So, but they're trying.
If I would change one thing about the XFL, what I dislike is that the league owns the teams. I think we need to have owners and owners going out there and try to put the best product on the field, any way that they can, spend some money. That's what I think that would really help out any any upstart league is having different owners and not having the league.
USFL's trying to. They started out the same way, and I think their talk is to get to owners. I think it's a 3-year test to see where things go with this and everything, and if it kicks in and if it holds. I mean, right now I'd say it's getting viewership. I mean, I had almost 100 people in there the other night watching the game I did, and I was really surprised at that. I wasn't expecting that much interest in it. So hopefully we continue to have that. And XFL goes 10 weeks. Then they got, I believe it's 4 teams to the playoff of the 8 and a 2-week playoff and championship. And then literally, like I said, when we're coming to the end of that, we'll be jumping right in to the draft and then the USFL. So that'll be good stuff here. Dog Catcher says, is there an indoor pro lacrosse league? I believe there is, but I don't know much about it. I don't think much into that.
Well,
Shows you
yeah,
how
there
popular
is, 'cause
that
Denver
league
had a team.
Denver had a team. Well, there you go. There you go.
They
Let's
won
go-
the
had a team, too.
championship, and then they went out, and then they folded like the next year.
Well, you don't want that to happen, that's for sure. Let's go around the board here real quick. Carney, you can start us off. Tell everybody what they'll find. Thank you, Hector Lopez, for subscribing to the channel. Talk about what's going over on Adventures by Carney. It's a party. I was watching you live during the day. Caught me off guard. I was at therapy watching you go live. It was good.
Yeah, we had a great time. Wednesday was opening day of Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival. So we were eating and drinking our way around the world, checking out the topiaries, a new festival fun. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of theme park stuff because now I live here in Orlando, but I'm from New York. There'll be a lot of traveling coming up. I do a lot of travel vlogs. I'll be in New York 2 or 3 times in the next 2-3 months. I'll be in
Nice.
South Carolina. I'll be all across the East Coast. It's going to be a busy few months. We also like to do other fun things too, just that are hobbies of mine and things that I am passionate about. So we do a lot of brewery stuff. We're bringing back Cooking with Pete, which a lot of people love. That's a debacle. We do a live cooking show, so it's not edited. It's going to be crazy. People love those. And yeah, just a ton of fun. Whenever I find fun, we did some shorts about comedy. I used to do stand-up comedy in New York, so I know a lot of comics, so we go to their shows. We just have a great time. And that's what it's all about. We have a very awesome community. So come say hi, hang out. Hopefully you just enjoy whatever's on the screen that day. Who knows?
Nice. I fully endorse his channel. I love his shows. He's fantastic. Go check him out. And Bryson, and they're killing it all over. Well, Crystal's killing it. Bryson's helping out and
I
support.
just come along for the ride.
Yes, we love what you guys are doing.
I just edit everything. No, so let's see here. So we're finishing our Wish cruise that we got off of last month. We leave in 2 weeks on St. Patrick's Day out of New Orleans, so that's going to be interesting
Nice.
to go on. We're going on a 6-night cruise there, and then I'm excited to be done with Disney and cruising content for a little bit, so we can just do some like real time us, like just our lives. Since like we don't put out a lot of videos a week, like those stretch out quite a bit of time. So I'm happy to get into real time content. Is
Nice.
what I'm happy to get into here soon. So
Awesome. Check out For the Love of the Mouse, everybody. Instagram, socials, and YouTube, of course, and right here with us consistently. Escapades of PJJ. Love you guys over there. Wednesday nights usually, and of course, Justin is a mainstay over in the This and That, running their everything over on Discord with This and That. Tell everybody about what you guys got going.
Well, first of all, I like to have people on while I'm at work. I ran across Carney the other day, and I learned that he has a story every time he comes back from the bathroom. So you need to watch him for his bathroom story. Escapades of PJJ. My wife takes care of everything, but we got a new game we're going to play this Wednesday. It's a hard R game, so come on by, leave the kids at home, and come hang out with us.
Please go do that. Gavin, please stop harassing people in the chat, or I'm going to remove you completely. Make it clear. Very simple. Please stop harassing people in the chat, or I will remove you completely from the channel. Go over and check out Escapades of PJJ. I love everything that they're doing over there. His wife, beautiful wife, Joy, is amazing. A lot of fun. She needs to do more shopping. She needs to buy more things, in my opinion. That would be, I encourage that.
Yeah.
As we're doing that. Gene, you've got a ton going on right now. And,
soon. Disney Nerdy will be back April 3rd, Monday night. Me, Joey D, Larry from Our Castle Life, Mouse Ration Mike for Disney Villains Club. And then Tuesdays, will be Castles and Cocktails will be back, and then the Disney Underground comes back on that Thursday, which I believe is the 6th, with me and Sam Edie from JSA Creations, and then also got the new thing I got going on with Kayla Pinkett from Cobra Kai. It's going to be sports, entertainment, pop culture, everything. It's going to be Monday through Friday from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, and that also starts April 3rd. So April's going to be a busy month. Got two channels launching in April. So
That's going to be a huge month for you with everything going on. I love that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just doing this. Checking that right there. I'm excited. All these guys are incredible creators. All the people that are part of our dais do a great job. Again, you can find all of their channels right on the front of my YouTube page. Just drop down to the NFL show. You can click their channel right from there and go right over and take a look at the content they have coming out. We'll be back live again next week. It's a tough time in the NFL as they're doing the combines. There's not a lot to heavy dig in, but we're going to cover as much as we can and stay on point here with as much of pro football as we can do. I thank all of my creators for being here tonight. Thank my moderators for being in the chat. We appreciate all of you. Join us this weekend. Again, I'll be live on Saturday at 7 o'clock. That's the closeout. We will see you over there Saturday, 7 o'clock.